The forest is already alive when the story begins, boots slamming into wet earth, breath tearing through cold air, metal scraping against bark as someone stumbles in the dark. A radio crackles once, twice, then collapses into static. No gunfire, no shouted orders, just the distant thud of artillery rolling like thunder beyond the trees. In the center of the chaos, 6 women move fast and silent through enemy territory, their shadows stretching and breaking under flickering moonlight. Then everything stops. When search teams return days later, they don't find bodies, blood, or shell casings. They find something far worse: 6 sets of dog tags laid carefully in a perfect circle, as if placed by deliberate hands. No shots were fired. No struggle recorded. The question that still haunts investigators is simple and terrifying. How does an armed patrol vanish without a single sound of battle? Because whatever happened next was not warfare, and then something impossible happened. It's late 1944, deep inside enemy-controlled Europe, when the war has reached a fragile tipping point and intelligence is more valuable than firepower. The women in this patrol aren't ordinary soldiers. They belong to a classified reconnaissance unit tasked with confirming the existence of a rumored corridor used to move troops, weapons, and secrets beyond Allied detection. If the corridor is real, entire cities could fall. If it isn't, the patrol has been sent straight into a trap. Command expects routine radio check-ins every 30 minutes, but the first transmission never comes. Maps stop making sense. Recon photos contradict the terrain reports. Somewhere between the forest paths and the silence on the airwaves, control begins to slip. Officers assume equipment failure, maybe interference, but they're wrong. Because as the minutes stretch into hours, no one realizes the most dangerous element of the mission hasn't revealed itself yet. And the real threat is already watching. At 2:17 hours, the silence breaks not in the forest, but in the command room. A single light flickers on the communications console, followed by a thin, piercing tone that cuts through the low murmur of officers and map markers scraping across the table. The signal is weak, unstable, and immediately wrong. It isn't coming from the patrol's assigned frequency. It's bleeding in from deep inside enemy-controlled territory, a range their radios were never designed to reach. Technicians scramble, ripping off headphones, shouting for triangulation as static swells and collapses in uneven waves. For 6 full seconds, there's nothing but noise. Then a voice punches through, breathless, controlled, unmistakably human. They know we're here. The room freezes. That sentence alone changes the mission. The patrol wasn't supposed to be detected. Their route avoided known checkpoints. Enemy patrols in the sector had been reported light, disorganized, almost non-existent. This transmission confirms the opposite. Even worse, the voice cuts out mid-syllable, as if someone else grabbed the transmitter. Before command can respond, radar operators report sudden activity along the forest line. One screen after another lights up with brief, sharp pings flares, rising, bursting, and dying in a deliberate pattern. Not a search. Not random illumination. A containment grid. On the ground, the patrol sees the flares, too. White light blooms through the trees, freezing shadows in place. Leaves glitter like metal. Every instinct screams to scatter, but the terrain betrays them. Paths that should exist simply end. Compasses spin uselessly. One radio drains its battery in seconds. Another emits a high-pitched whine before going dead. Someone whispers that the enemy isn't moving closer. They're closing doors. The patrol leader signals a halt, and in that pause, something far worse becomes clear. There are footsteps circling them. Slow and deliberate, never rushing, never panicked. No commands shouted in German. No weapons raised. Just movement back in the command room. Linguists and cryptographers replay the intercepted signal, boosting frequencies, stripping layers of interference. At the very end of the transmission, barely, it's audible beneath the static, a second voice emerges. Quieter, closer to the microphone. It speaks a single word, one that was never meant for Allied ears. A name, Anna. The patrol leader, no call sign, no code. Just her name, spoken as if whoever said it already knew exactly who she was. Command realizes this isn't a chance encounter or a lucky interception. The patrol has been identified personally. Someone has intelligence they shouldn't have. Someone has been watching long before the first boot hit the forest floor. Orders are drafted and erased in seconds. Extraction routes are proposed, then abandoned. Every option arrives too late, because on the ground the flares die out all at once, plunging the forest back into darkness. The circling footsteps stop. Radios remain silent. And in the next 90 seconds, no one in command can reach, warn, or change the fate of the entire patrol will be decided. The darkness that follows the dying flares is not empty. It presses inward, thick and suffocating, swallowing the forest whole. The patrol doesn't move at first, not because they don't want to, but because instinct tells them motion now would be fatal. Somewhere just beyond the trees, unseen boots shift their weight. Leaves crunch softly. A branch snaps, deliberately loud, as if to announce presence rather than conceal it. This isn't a firefight. It's control. Anna raises her fist, freezing the unit in place. Her breath is steady, but her eyes track constantly left, right, up counting angles, shadows, absences. These aren't standard patrol movements surrounding them. The spacing is wrong. Too even. Too calm. Whoever is out there isn't afraid of being discovered, because discovery doesn't matter anymore. In the command room miles away, tension fractures into chaos. Phones ring unanswered. Maps are dragged off tables and replaced with newer ones, then older ones, then hand-drawn sketches from memory. An intelligence officer insists the enemy unit responsible for the flare pattern doesn't officially exist. Another swears the pattern matches a containment drill abandoned years earlier because it failed. Unpredictably, no one agrees on anything except one. Fact, the patrol is no longer operating inside known parameters of the war. Back in the forest, one of the women signals that her weapon has jammed no debris, no obvious cause. Another checks her radio again, though she knows it's dead. The silence isn't normal silence. It hums, low and electric, as if the forest itself is listening. When the footsteps resume, they're closer now, but still unseen. They move in arcs, never crossing directly into the clearing. No voices, no flashlights. Just patience. Anna realizes something then that chills her more than the cold ever could. This unit doesn't intend to kill them here. If they wanted that, it would already be over. They want something else: information, confirmation, or compliance. And whatever it is, they believe time is on their side. A faint sound reaches them from the east. Not footsteps. Not speech. A metallic clink. Dog tags brushing against one another. Someone flinches. That sound should only be coming from within their own formation. Anna's jaw tightens. The enemy isn't just surrounding them, they're mirroring them. Command attempts one final transmission. Boosting power beyond safe limits, risking detection elsewhere along the front. The message never gets through. Instead, the signal bounces back, warped, distorted, as if absorbed and reshaped before returning. The technician swears he hears breathing beneath the static. He's told to sit down and say nothing. The forest closes in. Time stretches. And the patrol understands without speaking that this mission has crossed into something far worse than combat. Something is about to be taken. Minutes. Pass. Or maybe seconds. No one can tell anymore. When movement finally breaks the stalemate, it doesn't come from the enemy. It comes from Anna. She lowers her weapon slightly, just enough for the others to notice. It's a decision that goes against everything they've been trained to do, and yet no one questions it. They trust her because she's never been wrong before. She signals again. Weapon safe. Fingers off triggers. If this is a psychological operation, resistance may be exactly what the enemy wants. One by one, the patrol follows her lead. The sound of safeties clicking off echoes louder than any gunshot would have. The circling footsteps stop instantly. The message is received from the darkness. A figure steps forward, only far enough to be seen as a shape, never close enough to identify. No insignia. No rank markings. Just a silhouette that doesn't rush, doesn't threaten. It stands there, waiting. Anna steps forward alone. In the command room, an intercepted transmission flashes across a screen, short range, encrypted, and gone before anyone can trace it. The message is never fully decoded. Only 3 words survive the distortion. Proceed as planned. Planned by whom has never been answered. Back in the clearing, the figure tilts its head slightly, as if studying Anna's face. Then, slowly, deliberately, it lowers its own weapon and steps back into the trees. The surrounding presence doesn't retreat, but it loosens space opens where none existed before. A corridor forms, subtle but undeniable, leading deeper into the forest. This is no extraction. This is an invitation. Anna turns back to her unit. She doesn't give orders. She doesn't need to. They understand what's being asked of them and what it will cost. One woman shakes her head once, almost imperceptibly, then nods. Another presses her lips together, steadying herself. Promises made before the mission, we come back together, hang heavy in the air. Anna reaches for her dog tags. The others follow. The sound of metal hitting soil is soft, almost respectful. They arrange them carefully, deliberately, not in a pile, not scattered. A circle, complete, intentional, a marker. A message not meant for the enemy, but for history. We were here. We chose this. As the last tag is placed, the forest exhales. The presence withdraws fully now, opening the path ahead. No restraints. No blindfolds. Just silence and the certainty that turning back is no longer an option. When the patrol steps into the trees, they do so without looking behind them. That is the last confirmed sighting of the unit. Moments later, every enemy signal in the region goes dark simultaneously. Allied radar shows nothing. Intercepts drop to 0. The corridor, if it ever existed, vanishes from intelligence reports forever, and the war rolls on, unaware of what it has just consumed. When dawn breaks over the forest, nothing looks wrong. Birds return cautiously to the trees. Fog drifts low over the ground, curling around roots and fallen branches. From the air, the clearing appears untouched, no scorch marks, no churned earth, no sign of battle. Yet Allied patrols arriving hours later feel it immediately. Something is missing. Not bodies, not equipment. Presence. The only evidence left behind lies at the center of the clearing. 6 sets of dog tags. They are arranged deliberately, not dropped in panic or scattered by violence. Each pair lies flat against the soil, forming a near-perfect circle, edges aligned, names facing upward. Mud clings to them, but not blood. No boot prints led away from the formation. No drag marks. No shell casings. No broken branches indicating a struggle. Investigators mark the site as unusual but inconclusive. That classification alone raises alarm. Standard protocol assumes ambush or capture. Yet no enemy unit reports contact. No gunfire was logged. No flares were officially recorded in that sector. Radio logs show a brief signal spike, then nothing. As if the forest swallowed the patrol hole and closed behind them, command waits for survivors. None come. By nightfall, patrol is listed as missing in action, but the paperwork moves strangely fast. Faster than it should. Requests for expanded search operations are denied. Recon flights are rerouted. The clearing is quietly removed from future mission maps. And just like that, the war moves on. The families receive letters within weeks. They are identical and tone carefully written. Formally regretful, emotionally distant. Each states that their daughter, sister, or wife disappeared during a classified operation and is presumed lost. No further details can be provided in the interest of national security. No remains are returned. No grave is designated. Some families accept this, others don't. Years later, fragments begin to surface. A junior intelligence clerk reassigned after the war claims that the patrol's mission file was pulled from circulation within days of the disappearance. A section marked post-contact assessment was never filled in knowingly stamped, sealed by directive, the signature authorizing. It belongs to an officer who officially had no authority over the operation. A former enemy intelligence officer, interviewed decades later, reacts visibly when asked about Allied women operating behind lines in late 1944. He pauses. His hands tremble. Then he says something that never makes it into the final transcript. They were not taken. They were transferred, pressed for clarification. He refuses to elaborate. Then comes the diary. It appears quietly at a regional museum, donated anonymously under the condition that it not be digitized or publicly displayed. Handwriting analysis strongly suggests it belonged to the patrol leader. Most of the pages describe routine stress, coded movements, and unease about the mission. The final entry is short, written hastily but calmly, dated the night of the disappearance. If this is found, tell them we chose this. Silence was safer. Below the sentence is a rough pencil sketch, a circle. One file remains classified to this day. Its existence is acknowledged. Its contents are not. Archivists know its designation number, but are barred from opening it. Requests for declassification are repeatedly denied. Not on military grounds, but on the basis that release could cause strategic misunderstanding. A phrase no longer used for conventional wartime operations, eyewitness accounts continue to surface. Always secondhand, always incomplete. A farmer claims he saw 6 women walking calmly through the forest at dawn, escorted but unbound. A former Allied officer, near death, whispers that the patrol crossed into a different kind of war, one fought without weapons, uniforms, or rules. No evidence ever contradicts these claims. No evidence ever confirms them either. The dog tags remain. The only physical proof the patrol existed at all, they are now locked in storage. Rarely displayed, their circular arrangement preserved exactly as found. No plaque explains why they were placed that way. No official theory accompanies them. Just silence. And that silence leaves one final question hanging unanswered. Unsettling and deeply human. What did those women encounter in that forest that made disappearance preferable to rescue? Because whatever they learned, whatever they agreed to, whatever waited beyond that clearing, was never meant to be fought, and the truth of it remains buried not in the ground, but in the archives.